In the heart of Odum village, nestled among sprawling forests and golden yam fields, stood a bustling marketplace that thrummed with life from sunrise to sunset. Traders called out to passers-by, colorful Ankara fabrics flapped in the warm breeze, and the air carried the mingling aromas of fresh pepper soup, grilled fish, and roasted plantains. Among the many vendors, one stood out: Madam Ejike, the most popular food seller in Odum. Madam Ejike was a woman of striking presence. Her rotund figure, adorned in bright patterned wrappers, matched her booming laughter, which echoed across the market like a bell. Her stall, painted a cheerful shade of blue, was always surrounded by customers eager to taste her signature pepper soup, said to be the best in all of the surrounding villages. Her dishes had a flavor unlike anything else, a taste so rich and savory it seemed almost magical. "It's the spices," she would often say with a mischievous smile, waving her ladle. "And of course, the love I put into every pot." Her customers adored her food. Farmers, traders, and travelers alike flocked to her stall daily. Even Chief Adigun, the village leader known for his refined palate, was a regular patron. Madam Ejike had built a reputation that brought her fame and prosperity. Yet behind the warm facade of the cheerful cook was a secret so dark it could shatter the very foundation of her success. One fateful market day, Adebayo, a young and sharp-eyed palm wine tapper, arrived at Madam Ejike's stall. Adebayo was known for his curiosity and an insatiable appetite for uncovering mysteries. Though he wasn't particularly suspicious of Madam Ejike, he had always found the unique flavor of her dishes puzzling. What could make her pepper soup taste so different? "A bowl of your finest, Madam Ejike," Adebayo said, sliding onto one of the low wooden benches by her stall. Madam Ejike chuckled and ladled a generous portion of steaming soup into a clay bowl garnished with fresh basil leaves. "Ah, Adebayo, my soup will make you sing like a bird today," she teased. As he began eating, Adebayo's sharp gaze caught something unusual in the soup. Amid the chunks of meat and thick, spicy broth was a piece of flesh that looked unlike anything he had seen before. It was oddly smooth, with an unusual texture and a distinctive pattern that sent a chill down his spine. "What kind of meat is this?" he asked, holding the piece up on his spoon. Madam Ejike's expression flickered, but only for a moment. She quickly regained her composure and laughed heartily. "Ah, young man, you don't know premium bushmeat when you see it? That is special antelope meat from the deepest parts of the forest." Adebayo nodded, but couldn't shake off the nagging feeling of suspicion. Determined to find out more, he decided to return the next morning when the market would be quiet and Madam Ejike might be off her guard. The following day, just as the first rays of sunlight pierced through the morning mist, Adebayo approached Madam Ejike's stall. Hidden behind the piles of firewood and clay pots, he watched her prepare her famous soup. To his shock, he saw her reach into a sack and pull out something long and glistening, a large snake. With practiced ease, she skinned and chopped the reptile into pieces before tossing it into the bubbling pot. His heart raced. The delicious flavor that had made Madam Ejike famous was not from spices or love. It was from snake meat. Determined to expose her, Adebayo hatched a plan. He spent the next few days discreetly gathering evidence, speaking to other villagers who might have noticed something strange about her cooking. Some shared whispers of suspicion, but dismissed them as mere rumors. Adebayo, however, was resolute. One evening, during a village gathering at the marketplace, he stood before the crowd and revealed Madam Ejike's secret. He held up the snakeskin he had taken from her stall as proof. "Behold the truth of Madam Ejike's famous cooking," he declared. "The meat in her soup is none other than snake flesh." Gasps erupted from the crowd. Some looked horrified, while others stared at Madam Ejike with disbelief. She stood frozen, her hands clutching the edge of her table. Her carefully crafted world began to crumble around her. "That's not true," she shouted, her voice trembling. "These are lies to ruin my business." But the villagers demanded answers. They inspected her stall and found more evidence, remnants of snake bones and scales hidden beneath her cooking supplies. The truth was undeniable. From that day forward, Madam Ejike's life took a dark turn. Her once thriving business collapsed as customers abandoned her stall. Rumors spread like wildfire, and soon the entire region knew of the snake meat scandal. Ejike's reputation lay in ruins. Her stall, once surrounded by eager customers, now stood eerily empty. The vibrant chatter of the marketplace seemed muted whenever she walked past, and vendors who once greeted her warmly turned their backs or whispered behind her. Children, once delighted by her hearty laughter, now pointed and giggled, calling her Madam Snake Soup. Her family bore the brunt of the scandal too. Her husband, a king, a quiet farmer, could barely lift his head in public, while their children faced relentless teasing at school. Every attempt Madam Ejike made to explain herself only fueled the fire. She claimed she used snake meat out of necessity when bushmeat became too expensive, but the villagers saw it as greed disguised as culinary innovation. One fateful evening, Madam Ejike sat alone outside her home, staring at the pot that once symbolized her success. The moonlight cast long shadows on the clay walls, and the silence was broken only by the distant hoot of an owl. She could feel the weight of her choices pressing down on her. The next morning, Madam Ejike decided she could no longer wallow in self-pity. She had to redeem herself. She gathered her remaining savings and made a journey to visit Mama Chioma, a renowned healer and spiritual guide who lived in the neighboring village. Mama Chioma, a wise woman with deep-set eyes and a calming presence, listened patiently as Madam Ejike poured out her heart. "I only wanted to provide for my family," Madam Ejike sobbed. "But now I've lost everything. My business, my friends, and my dignity." Mama Chioma nodded knowingly. "The path to redemption is not easy, my child. You must face the consequences of your actions, but you can also work to rebuild the trust you have lost. It will take humility and perseverance." She handed Madam Ejike a small pouch filled with herbs and instructed her to prepare a special soup, one that would cleanse her spirit and bring healing to those who consumed it. This soup must be made with honesty and love. Share it freely with the villagers, and let your actions speak louder than your words. Armed with Mama Chioma's guidance, Madam Ejike returned to Odum village. She set up her stall again, but this time she announced that all her food would be free for the next week. She prepared the soup using the herbs and only the freshest ingredients she could afford. No shortcuts, no secrets. At first, the villagers were hesitant. Some mocked her efforts, while others avoided her entirely. But a few, moved by curiosity or hunger, tried the soup. To their surprise, it was delicious. Not the same flavor as before, but rich, wholesome, and comforting. Word began to spread. By the end of the week, more villagers came to taste her offerings. Madam Ejike greeted each customer with humility, often apologizing for her past actions and thanking them for giving her a second chance. One day, Chief Adigan, who had been one of her staunchest critics, decided to visit her stall. The entire market watched as he sat down and accepted a bowl of her soup. After a thoughtful pause, he nodded approvingly. "Madam Ejike," he said loudly, "this soup reminds me of the honesty and hard work our ancestors valued. If you continue on this path, perhaps the village will see you in a new light." The crowd murmured in agreement. It was the validation Madam Ejike had been praying for. The village. With time, Madam Ejike's stall regained its popularity. But this time it wasn't just about the food. It was about the transformation she represented. She began offering free meals to the less fortunate and mentoring young women who wanted to learn the art of cooking. Her newfound purpose extended beyond the kitchen. She spearheaded initiatives to clean up the marketplace, organize communal farming efforts, and even teach villagers how to prepare affordable, nutritious meals. Slowly but surely, the name Madam Snake Soup faded into oblivion, replaced by Mama Ejike, a term of respect and endearment. To mark her full redemption, the villagers organized a festival in her honor. It was held under the towering Iroko tree at the center of the village. There was music, dancing, and of course, food. Madam Ejike prepared a massive pot of her special soup, serving everyone with a genuine smile. Chief Adigan raised a calabash of palm wine in her honor. Tonight, we celebrate not just a skilled cook, but a woman who showed us that redemption is possible when one is willing to change and give back to the community. The crowd erupted in cheers. Tears filled Madam Ejike's eyes as she looked around at the faces of the villagers who had once shunned her, but now embraced her with open arms. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and follow for more captivating African stories and unforgettable village tales. Your support helps us bring more exciting content to life. Join the journey today. Madam Ejike's story became a legend in Odom village, a tale parents told their children about the importance of honesty, humility, and the courage to make amends. Her journey from disgrace to redemption was a reminder that even the darkest mistakes could pave the way for a brighter future if met with sincerity and hard work. And so, Madam Ejike's stall became a permanent fixture in the marketplace, not just as a place for food, but as a symbol of hope, resilience, and the power of community.